So I'm back to talk a little bit more about the Faber-Castell Pitt Artist Pen dual markers and using them on different types of paper. Now I have to apologise, with my Robin video I said I used the Frisk mixed media paper, and that's because that's my experimental paper. I use it just for testing things out, and it wasn't till after I published the video I realised, when I was packing everything up and getting out my paper to try these pictures, that this is the Strathmore mixed media paper. It's a vellum finish. It works really nicely with pen and ink, and I did try the Frisk mixed media paper, but I found that my pens were actually taking off the surface of the paper, so it wasn't working as well. So I will add an amendment to the other video just in case you have only seen that one. So another surface that works really nicely with ink pen is the Bristol board. And this is the Winsor & Newton Bristol board. And with my first picture I was very careful, everything is nice and clean, it came out really nicely. With my second picture I did the bell part, and then I thought I'll add a ribbon. But I just, one moment of carelessness and my hand skimmed across the red and smudged right across. So I decided, okay, I'm not using this as a card, it's not a decoration. I will keep that in to show you how you can smudge your work. Now I did, just for myself, just to cover up, I did manage to remove some of the red while it was wet, and the little bits of red that are around here I have covered with some white Posca pen. But I could not use this card for anything because it's just not so pretty. So the bell part worked really well. I was so disappointed with myself, and it just shows that if you're in a hurry or you're not concentrating, you just take your mind off for 1 second and you can completely ruin your picture. So you do have to be aware, especially with these pens, the big chunky tip on them, the very wet ink, it is going to take a little bit longer to dry. Now say with this picture, they're all a little bit mixed media because I've used a little bit of white Posca and a little bit of the Sennelier oil pastel in iridescent. Now with this one I used 3 shades of green and blended them to get the holly colour, because there wasn't an exact shade of holly colour. And some of the areas I thought a little bit too dark, so I actually did something that you do quite often with watercolour, got some scrunched up kitchen paper and I lifted out some of the colour in some of the areas to give me a little bit more of light and dark. And then because it's Christmas, I got my Sennelier oil pastel and gave it a little bit of gold because I just couldn't resist. You have to have a bit of shimmer and shine, and there's even a little bit of gold on the berries here, and I used 2 shades of the red for that. And then when we came to the bell, I had to resist putting too much shimmer on because I wanted to show you how you can use the pens. Now with this I've got 1 layer of the yellow, then I've got 2 layers, and then I've got 3 layers along the deeper edges. And then I put a little bit of the green gold around here just to show the sort of shadow. And I couldn't resist a tiny little bit of gold down here, just for a little bit of shimmer on the lighter shade and underneath. And then I did mess up, so with the ribbon you can probably just see I've had to go around with some white, but I left this in because art is never always perfect, mistakes happen, and I just wanted to show that one moment of thoughtlessness, one moment of not concentrating, my hand skimmed across and left a great big red mark. I managed to get some of it off straight away with a softer razor, but I couldn't get the red off around here, so I've just covered it up with the Posca white, and it just shows you that Bristol board is great, but your ink, especially with the chunky tips on these pens, it will take longer to dry. You need to take care, but I think they are wonderful pens. And I think for myself I will stick with the Strathmore mixed media vellum, or another good quality vellum paper, and any good quality Bristol board. And I think they both worked really well. I'm still absolutely loving these pens, they're so nice to hold. The chunky barrel, really easy and comfortable. The great big chunky tip on there, and they're just so much fun. And of course you have the fine liner on the other side, which means they're very versatile. So they're great on their own, they're great for mixed media.